So police responded to an alleged assault at a meeting of Michigan Republicans over the weekend.
Unlike Michigan Republicans, have very little.
Clare County Republican Party Chair Mark DeYoung told the Detroit News he was attacked on Saturday by James Chapman, a Republican from Wayne County. According to DeYoung, Chapman kicked him in the groin and slammed him into a chair as soon as he opened the door to the meeting room. Chapman claims DeYoung threatened him first. DeYoung denies that, saying he suffered broken ribs in the scuffle and plans to press charges, but what is going on there? That is nuts.
Elise, again, this is a problem with the Republican Party. They are, everybody obviously is focused on, Joe Biden falls off a bike. Joe Biden at night, sometimes he stutters a little bit more. He walks a little too stiffly. You've got a Republican Party that I think this is the most underreported story, because everybody's so obsessed how Donald Trump's at 45% or he's at 48%. What they don't report on is that 25% of Republicans say they will never, ever vote for him under any circumstances. That is a party divided, and as the first Republican president said, a house divided against itself cannot stand. Michigan, here's yet another example. These state parties at war with one another.
Well, and some of what happens at the state level is just crazy. And you look at what's going to happen at the national level, though, and the RNC sure doesn't seem to be doing anything to exert any power to force Donald Trump out of the race. I mean, it's questionable what they could do, since the bylaws would have had to have been agreed upon, I guess, at the last convention. But you would think that they could do something to at least ensure that Donald Trump has to participate in debates if he wants to be the party's candidate. But they aren't doing that. So it's bizarre to me. Earlier, Peggy Noonan's comparison was to Napoleon's cult of personality, and Hitler had been doing a lot of Stalin reading lately, and it just seems so much similar to the cult of Stalin when it comes to the cult of Trump, and just up is down and right is wrong.
Yeah, the cult of personality, and again, it leads to losses. One political loss after another political loss after another political loss. That's what, if this guy were winning, it would still be terrible that they were following a neo-fascist, but he's not winning. They're following a neo-fascist who continues to take them over the cliff. But Reverend Al, my gosh, this latest fight, it sounds like a Southern Baptist deacons meeting, like broken ribs and kicks in the groin. Maybe
I don't think so.
Maybe I exaggerate a little bit, but I know a lot of Southern Baptist preachers that would say, yeah, that's about what the deacons meetings look like. But Rev, this is a party in disarray.
It's definitely a party in disarray, and it reminds me of some of the Northern preacher meetings. But anyway, I think that it's clear to me that the potential talented candidates like a Nikki Haley or Tim Scott can't break through because he is sucking up all the oxygen in the room in terms of media space and attention, and his fights with DeSantis and his misinformation that he puts out every day. So even the candidates that could be really a threat to the Biden-Harris ticket can't break through. I think the best thing that could happen to Biden and Harris is that this cult lasts at least through November of 24.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Tim Scott. Tim Scott, again, a lot of people watching the show will disagree with a lot of things Tim Scott believes in. Tim Scott is an extraordinarily persuasive messenger for the Republican Party. And he talks about the American dream. He talks about having a father who, when he was on the sidewalks in South Carolina in the 1920s, had to step off the sidewalk, couldn't look a white man in the eyes as he was passing by, and talks about how his grandfather never lost faith in the American dream. His family never lost faith in the American dream. And here you've got a United States senator from South Carolina who's running for president. It's a very strong, very persuasive message, but that message is never getting out.
No.
None of the messages are getting out right now because, again, Donald Trump is sucking up all the oxygen in the room.